Hey guys, Joe from J&M Concrete here. So this week we're doing a front porch and a sidewalk that had sunk. We're figuring that it's either really thick or there's a hollow spot under the concrete and it wasn't very well compacted. That's usually the issue in these situations. So stick around for us tearing it out, finding out what the problem was, framing it, laying the rebar, and then the fun part, pouring it. So thanks for clicking on the video. Leave us a like, subscribe. Thanks, guys. Even though this front porch was really small, had it been out in the open, we would have broken it out pretty quickly. We had to break parts of it out and then haul it away and then switch back to a breaker to break it out. And then up against the house, if you see here, I had to pick up the pieces and kind of slide them out into the side because the brick was sticking out like 1.5 inches, so I couldn't just pry things up or else I would chip the brick. You can see how I used the breaker to kind of slide it off to the side so that when I come back with my bucket, I can just pick up the piece. And then for this one, well, this one was pretty easy. You just had to lift it up, get it ready, break it in two. But like I mentioned, even though it was a small porch, we had to switch between attachments back and forth, back and forth. Like here, I started taking out what I had broken previously, got that out of the way, cleared out a nice little path so that the machine could climb up onto the remainder of the porch and get what was left. Another problem though is the doorway where the camera is currently standing on was just a bit wider than the breaker plate itself, the thing that holds the breaker, so it's hard to break it all out. You have to kind of come in at angles, because if you go to your far left, the plate can hit the wall, far right, plate can hit the wall. So you break as much as you can right down the middle. And then to the right, where the camera is now, you have to come in at an angle and kind of poke and break as much as you can, just to make it easier when you will eventually have to come in with a good old sledgehammer. And that's what we ended up doing. Luckily, though, this stuff, the issue that it had was that it was poured unnecessarily thick for a little front porch. The soil, there was no crushed rock. It was all just kind of sandy soil. They didn't really compact it. We found like piles of trash under here. I mean, they really did not put forth the effort into getting that part ready. There was a few bars tied into the house a little bit, but those really didn't help at all with what caused the issue here. I always tell people, if you're going to choose between having concrete in having rebar in your concrete or a very good subgrade that won't go anywhere, you should always pick the subgrade better, because if you ask me which out of the two is more important, I would say the subgrade comes first in importance and then your rebar. But eventually when we brought in some good crushed rock and went at it. Another weird little unnecessary step we had to take was getting the front porch almost completely ready and then the sidewalk so we would have room to work. After the porch got framed and we brought in our road base, compacted the just absolute heck out of it, we started working on the sidewalk. So before, the sidewalk was about the same level as the driveway, and as maybe you can kind of see here, the garage has dropped about an inch from where it originally was, and then the driveway has dropped another about 2 inches below that. So what we had to do was raise the sidewalk back to where it needed to be, and then right when you turn this corner, it kind of ramped down to connect to the existing driveway. You don't ever want to try and put the concrete its own level and then leave a lip there. That's just a trip hazard. I mean, common sense. But if and when they do the driveway, they can cut it at the joint we have off this corner going out towards the street, and then pour everything the right level. So there was this little tiny ramp, like I said, right up here, and then the sidewalk, the proper level that it should have been, graded right and everything. But apart from that, once we were done here framing, it was just laying the rebar, and there wasn't much to lay anyways. One thing that really helped us in this front porch pour was under the porch in 3 different spots, a section of foundation was sticking through. So you combine that with the amount of reinforcing we put in here, it should honestly never have to go anywhere again since we incorporated both those elements. And as you can see here with that rebar tire, it took us like less than 5 minutes to get it all tied up. So the rebar lane didn't take that long, that's for sure. All right, guys, turns out that the concrete was really thick unnecessarily, not much reinforcing, hardly at all. So you saw what we did. We took it out, brought in some road base, framed it out, got our levels right. All that left is the pour. So we'll see you at the pour. Hopefully you've liked what's going on so far. So thanks, guys. See you then. Hey guys, pour day. It's nice and early today, 9 a.m. Weather's nice, not too hot, kind of cloudy. It's gonna be 2.5 yards, so it'd be pretty easy. Let's get it done today. Hope you guys are enjoying the video. Thanks, guys. Thank you, sir. All right, let's get some. Couple. A little more, a little. This. So pouring it was kind of fun. I mean, it was just like the tear out. We had to take our time, find smart little ways to get it in there. We did a couple buggies worth in the front, shoveled it towards the doorway, and then he rotted back. And then I brought one buggy worth around the side without damaging flowers because in front of this whole area was kind of landscape. I had to unload it by hand. And then after that, he rotted back to the very front of the porch and we unloaded a little bit. And then after that, the sidewalk actually went pretty quick. We ended up pouring kind of dry since we were in the shade. There was plenty of control, so we went like a 3 slump, make sure this porch was very, very well done. Took our time, did our faces. But all in all, the job came out really nice. Customer was really happy. You'll be able to see where we get the rod right there on the corner and then he strikes it back. That's where the sidewalk should have been originally, had it not sunk. And then after we got that little part done, it was just floating in from that sidewalk down to the driveway. which was pretty quick and easy after it was all said and done. And then you'll see me spraying that day one and doing the bull float in there, just working it into the surface. We're not officially using that on every single job now. I mean, it adds a little bit to the cost, but it's just that much better for the concrete if we're using this. You really don't even have to use curing aids if the day isn't too hot or too windy. Obviously, I mean, if it's hot and windy, we still want to use our white resin cure or proper cure for whatever we're pouring. But all in all, the pour went well. I decided to help finish on this one since it was a small job, and it came out really nice. I mean, I was happy with the face all the way around.
Ahora sí.
Ahora sí, Rocas.
Rocas. Ahora sí, rocas.
Oh, needs.
Means knees.
Ahora sí, Rocas. I had a needs. Pouring concrete since. Shit. A while now.
19.
90-some shit. My dad had started me early. Walter even remembers.
Ocho años.
Yeah, because we say años, that means many buttholes. Many buttholes.
We will
I've been doing
edit
this for many buttholes.
We'll edit this part out. Are all the places that you poured cemento?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ya nomás necesita uso. Nomás lo que creo que eso nunca va a ser posible. Porque empujarla. Hey. Piojos.
We need to be careful, guys, because, you know, it's a slippery slope. First, you guys see me finishing. Next, you'll be watching me pour concrete. Before you know it, I'll be rotting again. I mean, YouTube really has me going back to doing things the fun, hard way. But, no, it was a small job, and there was no reason to bring someone else in. I mean, I did what I normally do, watch, make sure everything was done correctly, and then a little bit of finishing, did the face, sidewalk, and stuff like that. So there wasn't any reason for me not to help out a little bit here and get it done. Our pal Walter here could have done it all by himself. So there wasn't any concern about needing more help. And like I mentioned before, some people were curious if I knew how to finish, and yeah, I do. I just don't do it much anymore. And so the thing about this house was that the brick wasn't straight, so we did a joint off the corner of the house there where the windows kind of turn to make that area where you're standing on square. But when you were standing away from the house, the joint wasn't straight with the house. But when you were standing in the area in the side of the porch, all the squares were very square, 90-degree angles. So it was a funny little pour.
Well, there it is, guys. Pour went well. Even I got to finish. We poured 9 a.m. poured about a 3-inch slump. Used that day one just to make it nice and workable, but it came out well. 4,000 fiber mesh, number 3 fiberglass rebar, 2 feet off center. Take a look, guys. What do you think? I think we did okay. Thanks for taking a look, guys. We'll see you next week. Next one's going to be a fun little project. It's going to be a back patio with a long sidewalk. Should be nice. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.